Welcome to Believe, the Conspiracy Theory Podcast. I'm Phil Green.
And I'm David Ferguson.
And this is a podcast all about the world's craziest conspiracy theories. And today is a classic, isn't it?
Oh my goodness. Look, I don't believe this is a conspiracy theory. I just believe this is a thing that we've yet to discover.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, ever since we've known each other, you have been going on about this one. And this is one we have always wanted to talk about. So we are very glad this guest has picked it.
Oh, absolutely. I'm chomping at the bit to get to this.
Yes. So this is a podcast all about the world's craziest conspiracy theories. In each episode, we invite on a fellow comedian. That comedian picks a conspiracy theory they want to talk about. It might be a conspiracy theory they believe in. It might be a conspiracy theory they don't believe in. Or it might just be a conspiracy theory they think is completely batshit and they want to know how it happened in the first place, don't they?
Yes, because we will help out. Not all heroes wear capes.
Exactly. That's what we're here to do. Now, we've got big news, haven't we?
We've got huge news.
Huge news.
On the 14th of May, which is a Saturday?
No, it's a Tuesday.
Which is a Tuesday. On the 14th of May, which is a Tuesday, we're going to be doing Believe the Conspiracy Pod live.
That's right. It's our first ever live show. It's going to be at Big Barely Comedy Club in South Bank in London. So if you're around, there'll be a link in our show notes. Go on to that and you'll be able to buy tickets for it. And we would love to see you there. It's going to be a huge event. Probably the biggest thing in London on that day, I imagine.
Yes, it is. I'm very, very excited. There's going to be strippers.
There's going to be strippers.
There's not going to be strippers.
No, there's not going to be any of that. But there will be pizza and there will be drinks and it's going to be fun, isn't it?
There's going to be pizza?
There will be a fantastic guest, probably. And there will be a fantastic conspiracy theory, we imagine.
And we're very, very excited about it. I'm quite nervous.
Now, where can people get in contact with us?
If you want to get in contact with us, you can get in touch with Believe Conspiracy Pod. And we're on all the social media, which is like TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube.
Yeah, all the ones that matter. We are on those. And it's where you can get in contact with us and let us know what you think about the conspiracy theories that we've been talking about, because we want to know, don't we?
We absolutely want to know what you think of what we've covered. Are there any conspiracy theories that you think that we should be covering? We'll get a comedian in to talk about it, and we will discuss the heck out of it. We want you to be involved. Let us know what you think. Do you like what we wear?
Yes. Do you like what we wear? That's the main thing.
Yeah.
We will add those conspiracies to our list and we will find a comedian that wants to talk about those conspiracies. So get in contact with us. We want to know your opinion. Yes. Now, you are also doing some stand-up live shows.
I am finally getting around to doing some stand-up live shows as part of the Camden Fringe. It's on August 2nd, which is a very special date. And August 5th, I'm doing my work in progress show, Trivial Hirsute.
Absolutely. And I will also be doing a show earlier on the 2nd of August in the same venue. So come along to see the double header. It will be amazing. I'm also doing a work in progress show. It'll be going to other dates in London as well in June and July. I'm doing Balham, I'm doing Bermondsey, I'm doing Camden, I'm doing Islington, and also Brighton, a couple of dates on the 25th and 30th of May. So please come along. The links for any of those shows will be in the notes of any of our podcast shows, and you can also find the links on our website as well.
Yes.
Okay, now, we should give a big shout out to our wonderful tech.
Oh, we should. The wonderful George! We love you, George!
Who has been ill, but now he is recovered and he is gunning for this one, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. This is exciting.
So excited. It's feverish. And who is today's wonderful guest?
Today's wonderful guest is a podcast legend herself, the wonderful, the delightful, the gorgeous Suzie Preece.
Wonderful Suzie Preece. Suzie is a Leicester Square Comedian of the Year finalist. She's been in the Funny Women competition. Mm-hmm. She's done Edinburgh Fringe runs. She's also the MC of Going South Comedy in London, which is a big comedy night, a very successful comedy night in London. And as you said, she is the co-host of the hugely successful podcast Ghost Hunts, where the hosts read out anecdotal accounts of events which may or may not be true.
That sounds like a terrible idea for a podcast.
Terrible idea for a podcast, yeah. I guess people will listen to any old nonsense, won't they?
They will.
And what is Suzie here to talk about today?
Bigfoot is real.
Great. Let's bring on Suzie.
Get out of the rabbit hole.
It's a fake. Every single bird in the sky is a robot.
It's fiction.
Doubt your government.
They're trying to brainwash you.
It's an urban legend.
Like if they're actually spraying something in the sky.
No way.
A stream of absurdity.
It's a total fabrication.
Welcome to the podcast, Suzie Preece!
Oh my God, yeah!
How are you?
Hey, I'm fine.
Good.
Yeah, I've just been lurking at the back listening to your intro.
Yeah,
it was
absolutely.
great.
Good. You happy with the intro?
Very happy with my intro, with your intro.
Good.
I should come and see your shows.
You should come and see
You
the
really
shows.
sold me on all of them.
Okay.
That was the plan.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. No, guys, go and see their fucking shows.
Thanks, Suzie.
Yeah.
It's the aggressive stance that we need to take, isn't it?
Get
Just
a
fucking do
ticket,
it. Yeah.
dickhead.
I think that's what's missing in comedy. We're not aggressive enough.
No.
Yeah.
You will fucking laugh.
You will
You've done live shows with your pod, haven't you?
We have.
And do you
We did
aggressively-
a little tour.
Yeah.
Buy a fucking ticket.
Yeah, buy a fucking ticket. Yeah. Get out on the streets, drag them in by the teeth.
I go to the Prince Charles Cinema a lot, which is in Leicester Square, and I walk past the View. I think it's the View Cinema.
Oh, yeah.
And there you were with Hannah, and I was like, oh
you
my
see
god,
it?
yeah, it blew my mind.
Oh
blew my mind.
God.
Oh,
Yeah.
what, on the billboard?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
We were on
yeah.
a cheeky billboard.
That's nice.
And I was like,
nice.
oh, there's my ambition.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
So there was a massive Suzie above.
Yeah.
That's
It
slightly
was so
disconcerting as
silly.
well. Yeah.
I was like, fuck
Yeah.
hell. Yeah, I found my little home in Leicester Square for a bit.
Did you
I'm so
feel-
pleased you saw it.
Yes.
Because a lot of people were like, were you? I was like, it
definitely.
looked AI, like in the Instagram photo I did of it. It's like, did it really happen? Is it a conspiracy?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Did you dream it?
Did I dream it?
Yeah.
Fever dream. A narcissistic fever dream.
Did you feel famous?
No, I mean, a little bit. I felt a bit like, oh, and
Yeah.
then we just kept looking at it. Yeah, it was a really nice moment.
It's
you know?
lovely. It's
It
nice.
was really nice. It's
great.
Yeah.
I know it's a bit early in the podcast to be talking about Joan Crawford, but when Joan Crawford first became famous,
Never too early, apparently.
she would go around all the cinemas. This is about 1929, and she would take a photograph of all the marquees that had her name on them.
Oh, really?
So yeah.
Oh,
So like
really?
that's like one of the photos became available for sale in an auction. It got like something ridiculous. I couldn't afford it.
She'd be a nightmare if she was on Instagram, Joan Crawford. Then.
She'd be amazing.
Who was it? Who's the lad who was in?
So you got to celebrate your
No
wins. Is what I'm
wait,
saying.
Who's the? Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
Someone said the other day that guy.
Yeah.
Bohemian Rhapsody dude.
Yeah.
Someone said he would absolutely kill Instagram, and I'm like, actually, he would. Do you know?
I could see that.
Yeah.
Like he'd do so well.
Because he had
R.I.P.
a great wit. He was really funny.
and
Yeah.
fit and like.
And he hung out with Princess Diana.
Because those people were kind of, because you could be you could be a mysterious celebrity then, couldn't you, when no one knows much about you, but
Yeah.
and you wouldn't know how witty or sharp someone is. But now, just
Yeah.
exposed.
A
It's out
shame.
there.
A
It's
shame.
It's a shame, isn't it? Born in the wrong era.
Well,
Joan
you know,
and Freddie and.
Yeah.
we love them all.
But I have to say, the billboard thing aside, I was actually more chuffed when I saw myself on a poster on the Debenhams advert in 2021.
Wow.
I don't know if you've seen it.
No.
I was in the Christmas campaign for Debenhams.
Oh, yeah, a lot of people
yes,
talk
it
about
has
it, yeah.
closed down and it is defunct. That's
did
nothing
you?
to do with me.
Okay.
But I was in that Christmas advert in a sparkly green dress, and when I saw that, I was like, "Fuck, she's made it."
So were you in
Billboard, I'm like,
were you in the Debenhams last ever Christmas?
yeah, I shut it down. No, I think there was one after me.
Okay.
But
But who
then-
talks about that
But
one?
you laid the
Who
foundation.
cares
for it,
about the 2022 one? That one's shit. But I was usurped on a lot of billboards, on the big ones on the
Nice.
tube for a Boohoo ad, and a girl who looked exactly like me
Yeah.
in a sparkly dress, and she made it onto the massive tube, and I was like, who the fuck's that?
Well, this bitch.
I hate her.
Yeah, rightly so.
I hate her.
We'll track her
I
down.
hate
Yeah, can we track? That's the reason I'm here, to share this, and we can track her down.
Yeah, yeah. Good.
Anyway.
Susie,
Yes.
conspiracy theories.
Yes.
How do you feel about them?
Very good about them, thank you.
Feel very good about them.
Yes,
Okay, good.
I
Okay.
like them.
That's the most considered answer I've
Yeah.
had so far. Okay.
You're like, I thought she'd done some research.
Yeah.
I'm like, I like them. I like a conspiracy.
You like a conspiracy?
Yeah.
Mm. Do you think there's overlap between those and ghost hunters and people that believe in the paranormal?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. The thing is, right, I want to believe in them.
Yeah,
I know you haven't asked me,
Yeah.
but I'm skipping ahead
that's fine.
because we're kind of going there, aren't we?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
And I want to know your opinions as well.
Yeah,
I'm sure I'm sure your listeners are like, we've heard it already. But I really want to believe in them. And it's the same with ghosts. I really want to believe in them, and I'm going to hunt them down until I'm dead and become a ghost myself. But I haven't yet found the evidence to fully convince me.
Are there some that you believe, as in like some stories
I
that
mean,
you...
9/11 didn't happen, did it?
Yeah, it was a hologram.
Did I say that out loud? No. No, to be fair.
September 12th, there was no rubble.
Yeah, inside job.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, I actually did believe that.
At the time or now?
No, as in, no, at the time I was like, okay, that's awful and probably wasn't an inside job. But then I watched a Netflix documentary and I'm very gullible. I was like, that expert sounds really believable.
Oh, yeah.
No, and I sat my friends down in the pub and I was like, it was an inside job. Can you believe that? And they were like, are you all right? And I was like, no, It was. And like, that's the problem. I'm really primed for a conspiracy theory. Do you know what I mean?
But do you also think that is a problem? Like that immediately somebody judged you because you gave a different opinion to the mainstream opinion.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And this is what we talked about before, is like, it doesn't necessarily help just to assume that somebody is crazy just because they believe something that you don't.
Yeah.
Because
I got shamed.
Yeah. Because 9/11, we've said this before, there's whether it was an inside job or not, there's still a lot that we don't know about it that we haven't been told, right?
Exactly, Bill. So what do you believe?
I believe it happened, and
Definitely happened.
but I do think that there's a lot that isn't disclosed. I think they knew a lot more before it happened than has been disclosed as well.
Okay.
There's so much that's redacted on those files.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, see, we're getting back into it. See, I was then convinced it was all like, it's all out there and it's fine. But now I'm like, actually,
Well,
do you actually believe in a lot of conspiracy theories or none at all?
I believe in sometimes I believe in elements of some conspiracies,
Okay.
right? So like the 9/11 thing, I believe there's some conspiracy there, and the JFK one I was massively bought into because I struggle to see how it could have been one guy, and I struggle to see how it could have been the guy that went down for it or was accused of it. But there are others where I'm just thinking, no, it's just batshit. But you are the opposite. Most of the time you're the opposite, but sometimes...
we have been here and I'm like, I believe in the conspiracy. And then we're talking about going, not a scarp. This is not true.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like it's happened a few times.
Because it kind of goes, we dig into the facts and then you either start to believe more or less.
Right.
you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I know. Well, that's the thing. I'm like, do you remember Serial?
Yeah.
And do you remember when, like, as you go through it, you start to like firm up who you think it was?
Yeah.
It was Adnan Syed, obviously.
Yeah. But did you flip-flop when you were listening to it?
Yeah, but then in the end, I was like, and isn't it just about you just choose the side that you think is right? And that's all that matters.
Yeah.
It's not really about the truth. Fuck the truth and facts, right? And evidence.
It's who profits, you know, like who profits from 9/11 not being, fully explained, or like who profits from JFK, you know, like that. I think that's where you figure it out from. But also it's an interest, like I think it's a very, very good idea to not accept things at face value.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't mean
that's a healthy standpoint, isn't it?
Yeah. An unexamined life is not worth living.
Yeah.
Have you heard of the Britney Illuminati thing?
I've heard many things about Britney.
Yeah, it's quite a lot about Britney.
Yeah, because I was intrigued to know whether or not you're going to cover that, because I would.
So some people have come forward and they've asked us to cover the Britney George Bush conspiracy.
What's that?
So that if you look at all of the big announcements unpopular announcements that George Bush made during a large part of his tenure, Britney would do something or release something that would take the spotlight or take the focus away in the media onto her. So a lot of things
she was in cahoots with George.
Well,
but I don't know that she was.
Britney.
I tend to think that Britney has been terribly treated and manipulated. And
Agreed. Apparently, she's got two body doubles, and you can see that in her Instagram videos. Have you heard that?
Yeah, I've heard that because there's because they put the filter her face on a body and stuff.
Yeah.
And, I think that happens quite a lot. I think we're talking about body doubles. Like Joe Biden has definitely had body doubles, and
he's dead, isn't he? So
yeah, like Joe Biden's a very unhealthy person.
Cryogenically frozen.
Yeah, like
just animatronic Biden.
There's a really interesting book about Saddam Hussein's body double, about his life. It's a really good book.
There's a
I
movie
really
made of
recommend
it.
it.
I forgot the name of it now.
Really?
Yeah, about the guy who was Saddam Hussein's body double.
Oh shit! Yeah, I can imagine that. I'd like to watch that.
We should get body doubles for our Insta as well.
Yeah, we should all.
We should all do that.
Doubles,
I
yeah.
would love.
You've already got them. You got the girl that was on the
This isn't Suzie Preece. by the way.
Yeah. Oh, we know.
I'm the boohoo model.
So Bigfoot.
Yes.
Talking of very important conspiracy theories. So, Sasquatch, a large, hairy, human-like creature, is believed by some people to exist in the northwestern United States and Western Canada. It seems to represent the North American counterpart of the Himalayan region's mythical monster, the abominable snowman or yeti. The name Sasquatch derives from a Salish word meaning wild men. The creature is also commonly called Bigfoot. Despite the absence of concrete scientific evidence, the legend of Bigfoot persists, serving as a testament to humanity's enduring curiosity and penchant for mystery. The origins of the Bigfoot myth can be traced back to the indigenous cultures of North America, where tales of a towering ape-like creature roaming the forest were passed down through generations. These early accounts often depicted Bigfoot as a guardian of the wilderness, a mysterious entity existing on the fringes of human understanding. Sasquatch is variably described as a primate ranging from 6 to 15 feet tall, standing erect on 2 feet, often giving off a foul smell. Hopefully nothing to do with the erectness, and either moving silently or emitting a high-pitched cry. Footprints have measured up to 24 inches in length and 8 inches in width. A Soviet scientist, Boris Porshnev, suggested that Sasquatch and his Siberian counterpart, the Almas, could be remnant of the Neanderthals, but most scientists do not recognize the creature's existence. Instead, it is thought to be a hoax or an animal, possibly a bear.
Wow.
You been to North America?
Yes.
Seen Bigfoot?
Yes.
Yeah. That's why she's
Moving
here.
on. No, it's been seen in British Columbia, hasn't it?
It has.
Is that Canada?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. I felt a bit thick there. I was like, North America is Canada and America,
It
is
is,
it?
yeah.
Great. Yeah, it's very interesting, isn't it? Well, I mean, what are your thoughts?
Well, one of the things Jane Goodall, who would know a thing or two about primates, she believes that there are.
She does.
Yeah, so it's not all scientists.
No, that is true, actually. There are lots of accounts of Bigfoot sightings that have been discredited and proven to be wrong. However, that doesn't necessarily... The problem with this is there are a lot of those accounts, and that kind of takes away the possibility of it being real. And there are, you're right, some scientists and some... what do they call experts in ape-like creatures?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
Monkeyologists.
Monkeologists. That's the technical term.
Monkeologists.
Monkeologists.
Who don't necessarily believe it completely, but don't exclude the possibility of it, which I think is how all scientists should be.
Yeah, 100%. Otherwise, science becomes like religion.
Yeah.
If you're like, this is exactly right. And you're like, well, you're just as dogmatic as a fucking priest. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have seen a panther.
Okay, close enough.
Now, I know that's not Bigfoot, but a lot of people are like, you haven't, and they try and discredit me. So I feel like my experience with a panther is probably how people who have seen Bigfoot feel, because I fucking saw a panther.
Panthers are rarely sighted, right?
Really?
Yeah.
And
Where did you see yours?
Wales.
Right.
Yeah, I saw
Oh,
it.
a UK big cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, ABC. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, anomalous big cats. It's a
Really?
thing.
Is that a whole thing?
Yeah.
Some people just don't believe it. And I'm like, actually, it
Where
makes
was
so
this?
much
Swansea?
sense. Yeah, on the high road. It's on the border between England and Wales, and
Okay.
it's really rural.
Yeah.
A friend of mine has her parents have a little house there, and we were like climbing up this hill called Glog Hill, and like over in the other field I could see this tiny like dot but moving really fast. And the way I describe it is that it was bigger than a dog, but smaller than a cow. And this thing was like streaking across the field at such a speed that I was like, and both of us had the same like reaction at the same time. And we just legged it up a tree because we were like, that
It was
like
a visceral reaction. It wasn't
Yeah.
like, I think that's
like
it. You
caveman
reacted to it.
thing. Like we were like, that's a predator. Yeah. And then it just disappeared out of sight. And then later on that evening, we went for this, like we followed this little like babbling brook river that goes through the woods.
Yeah.
And we were like, let's just follow it because it was quite shallow at the time.
Yeah.
So we got our wellies on and we're following it through. And my friend lowered me into this part of the river. It was quite dark. And she was like, oh my fucking God, I can see something. And she just literally panicked. And I had this sense that something was watching me. And I mean, she'll never let me forget it because I fucking literally pushed her out the way, legged it all the way back to the house. She was like, thanks, dickhead. Like legged it over a fence. I nearly had a heart attack at the end because I was so unfit and I've never run so fast in my life. But she was like, I could see the outline of something there and I could feel it look at me.
I know we're getting completely off topic,
No,
but
sorry.
there are definitely big cats in the UK.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different reasons for it. The TV program, the BBC TV program, Tomorrow's World, talked about it in 1984. Like did research into it, and in the 1970s, they changed the law about who could own big cats.
Yes.
And instead of like putting them into zoos, which cost money, or shipping them somewhere else, people just let them out.
Yeah, because they were sold in Harrods for a
Yeah.
while. Like you could go to like the 9th floor of Harrods and there were all these big cats in cages and you could just buy one.
So
Like
they
a
could be
little
out there breeding. So this is like
Yes,
third,
yeah.
fourth, fifth generation big cats.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's been there was a because we haven't
That legacy.
But they're big cats. They're big cats.
But it does lead on to Bigfoot in a way, because I'm like, I know what I saw.
Yes,
and
because you reacted primarily to
Yeah.
it. You didn't primarily. Am I saying the right word?
Did you instantly think panther, or was that something that you went home, you researched it, and that's what you came up with? That's what you think it is, or was your instant reaction?
I think the black cat-looking thing streaking through the field, we both just said panther.
Yeah.
Apparently, panther's not an actual cat.
No, it's leopards when they are fully melanistic.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, like a jaguar is.
Yeah, basically an all black cat. So the opposite.
Yeah.
It's melanistic, or which is the opposite of albino.
Melanistic. I
think
love
that's
that
it.
word.
I think that's it.
Anyway, I just kind of think that they're so elusive, and no one has any concrete, like, here's an actual. Well, actually, I have seen some videos of big cats, but these videos of Bigfoot, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I kind of think that maybe, because I've watched some footage today of people who have claimed to have seen Bigfoot,
Yep.
and I'm like, that's really convincing. And the most convincing ones are the people who are not going out to look for Bigfoot; they're just camping. You know, it's like
Yeah, because there
Sarah
doesn't seem to be
and
any motivation there, does
Tom.
there? Like, why
Yeah.
would you come up with that? If you were going out to see it,
yeah.
and you claim to be a Bigfoot witness, then
bullshit.
there's more skepticism,
Yeah.
right? But when you're, like you said, I'm on a family holiday and I saw a Bigfoot, why would you randomly come up with that story? It doesn't make
Yeah,
sense.
I know. So I don't know. I'm like, I think there is maybe some kind of walking ape-like dude somewhere in North America.
All right. Okay. So footprints, photographs, and the Ape Canyon incident. So the British explorer David Thompson is sometimes credited with the first discovery in 1811 of a set of Sasquatch footprints, and hundreds of alleged prints have come forward since then. The Sasquatch legend grew in 1924 after 5 gold prospectors claimed to have had a violent encounter with gorilla men in a gorge now called Ape Canyon on Mount St. Helens, Washington. After the prospectors wounded one of the creatures during the day, the Mountain Devils, as they were called, returned that night, pelting the prospector's cabin with boulders and repeatedly ramming the structure. When the attack ended at daylight, the prospectors fled. Although their account was later discredited by US forest rangers, who notably proved that the footprints were fake, the story still spread. There have been more than 10,000 eyewitness accounts of Bigfoot in the continental US in the last 50 years, Life Science reported in 2019. It's a lot of sightings.
A lot of fucking
Lot of
sightings. This is it.
Yeah, they're. I mean, it's very easy. Just do a research on YouTube. They'll show you footage of Bigfoot, and I dare say some of them are fake. But what's very, very interesting is the ones that are like a hunting camera that's on infrared, and so basically you're seeing an all black image, not a high definition image, which is the problem with a lot of these. They're not high definition, and you see this creature, a shadow of a creature on a thermal with ape-like proportions. It's not just a person in a suit, and it isn't people in suits. It isn't.
No.
So this is just not what happens.
It's a lot of effort to go to, and also some of these films are old, right?
Yeah.
So now it would be fairly easy to fake that. You could do it with CGI. You wouldn't necessarily even need a guy.
I just need to take my top off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a very
Oh God,
hairy
it's
man.
Bigfoot.
I'm a very hairy man.
But to create like a sort of a 10-foot ape-like creature in the 70s, or even
Yeah.
like going back to the 50s, that would be quite a hard thing to do, I would imagine.
Although there is that one you were talking about earlier. Is it Gimlin?
Yeah,
Gimlin.
Patterson Gimlin.
Yeah, so that's like the famous Bigfoot
It is, yeah,
footage,
yeah.
which, to be fair, does look fucking fake.
Yes.
Like we all should agree that does.
Oh no, I think it
it's
looks
the little
real.
like human look over the shoulder of you're like, oh, who's in that? Like
It looks
someone's
like a
in there.
half-assed actor
Yeah.
who's not being paid properly.
Yeah,
It's
checking if they've got it right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, well, I'm here now, I'll do the job, but I'm...
Oh,
Yeah.
I couldn't disagree
sacking my
more.
agent.
It's,
After this.
it's almost too vivid for me to believe it. If it was like slightly in the trees and doing a little peek,
But this
the
is
fucking
this is
stroll.
the thing. I think the Patterson Gimlin is actually footage of Bigfoot. I genuinely.
No,
do.
you don't.
I absolutely do.
No, he does.
hasn't
he
it been
does.
proved that it was a
No,
suit?
no. Joe Rogan has said that he thought it was a suit. It has not.
It must be true.
Oh, well.
I mean, this is
Joe
a
Rogan.
debate as old as time since it came out. The proportions of Patty, that's what she gets called, are ape-like. Where her hand rests on her knee, where her motion is, you see rippling of muscles. They didn't have the technology for that. They don't have the technology for that now. To have it so smooth and also she has breasts. That's
yes, 'cause
odd.
you
Yeah,
think
but
it's a
like-
she, don't you?
It's a she. It's she. That's odd. Why would you like that? This was in the early 60s. Women didn't exist, and the idea.
That's a mad conspiracy. I love it.
I'd love to do that. Women didn't exist.
Women
As a
aren't a
gay
thing.
man, but what I'm saying, like the idea of making it female was just wouldn't have been the thing to do.
But isn't the guy who shot it, wasn't he like a stuntman? And like he was
Yeah.
So
Do you
know what I mean? Like he's got a background in Hollywood.
But
and
that's why the
fakery
footage.
and-
That's why the footage is so good.
Yeah, but I did read that as well. However, when you watch nature documentaries, a lot of cameramen that go out there have come from that background. So the fact that, because a lot of people cite that as being a reason why it might be fake, but actually a lot of wildlife photography is done by cameramen who have worked on films. They've worked on drums, they've worked on other stuff as well.
So there's been no one's come forward and said that was a suit.
Oh, loads of people have come
plenty-
forward and
plenty
said
of
that's
people,
stupid. It has not been backed up.
But then neither has, but there's been no evidence of any like remnants or like DNA
No
or
one's found.
fossils or-
There are footprints of Paddy, but they weren't great because
Paddy?
because it's Patterson Gimlin film. Okay, so she gets called Paddy.
I see.
And Paddy and Adina. No, that's Patsy. No. But where she was walking was a valley bed, and so it was like stones. There wasn't really any footprints, and also she's a big ape woman. Like they were scared. Like there are talks about that. It didn't immediately come out. I
She
believe
just had an argument with him indoors, and she was like, she was just in a,
the
yeah.
amongst the people that talk about the Paddy in the Patterson Gimlin film, the reason that she's spotted is because she's a juvenile. And she doesn't have the wherewithal to not be
She's
hidden.
a young'un.
Yeah, she's a young'un. And that seems to be the really good photographs of Bigfoot or Bigfoot-like creatures the idea is that they're juvenile, they don't know any better.
So she's not even a fully grown Bigfoot.
Wow.
No, because it's north.
She's 8 foot tall.
It's North America. They tend to get about 10. As you get further into the Americas, like towards Florida and whatever, they become smaller. So the Florida skunk ape, which there are there's photos of sent in by a woman to the police. Whether that's true or not, like the thing is, it looks so. Is this real? You know, like it looks so weird, but I
suppose the only thing that gives me pause is that you just can't find where they live or any evidence of their homes or where they've set up camp or like there's nothing.
Well, you say that, but where we're seeing Bigfoot is actually the idea that humanity has conquered the planet is incorrect. There are loads of places where we just can't go, and where we see Bigfoot is really where we just can't go. So, like we haven't, like the forests and the great forests in North America, we haven't really explored them. Where we are is the little bit that we can be on, like the path or what have you, you know. And these creatures are designed.
Maybe they're in caves.
Maybe they're in caves. Maybe the another one, like, and this is on one of the episodes of Joe Rogan. Like, well, the reason they're able to get about is because of all the cave systems, and there are cave systems in America, and that's how they're meant to get about. There's also the idea that they're aliens. So,
I love an alien.
Yeah,
Don't worry, we're getting on to that. So talking about where they live. So the Albert Ostman story. In 1924, Albert Ostman, a lumberjack and woodsman, went to Topar Inlet, British Columbia, for a vacation. Ostman had heard stories about man-beasts who supposedly roamed these woods but refused to believe them. As Ostman lay asleep, one evening, a Sasquatch purportedly picked him up and carried him off while he was in his sleeping bag. Ostman was carried in his sleeping bag across country for 3 hours by the Sasquatch. The Sasquatch dropped Ostman down on a plateau. Standing around him was a family of 4 of the creatures. Albert was kept captive by the Sasquatch. The captors were 2 adults and 2 children, which held Ostman captive for 6 days. One of the Bigfoots was reported as being 8 feet tall. Ostman did not use his gun on them as they had done no harm to him. He stayed with the Bigfoot family for a week. Ostman ate sweet tasting grass that they gave him. According to Ostman, the female Sasquatch washed and stacked leaves. Albert escaped by making the large male Sasquatch groggy by feeding him some snuff. He did not tell his story for more for more than 24 years after it happened for fear of being thought of as crazy. As more Sasquatch stories appeared in the press, Albert decided to tell his story to a local newspaper, The Province, in 1957. In 2007, the skeptic Joe Nickell characterised the story as more likely the result of imagination than of recollection. Critics of Osman note that he did not make the event public until 1957, 33 years after he said it took place. Primatologist John Napier states that Osman's story fails to convince me primarily on the grounds of the limited food resources available.
Ooh.
What I would say to this is the fact that he didn't come out and say his story, that criticism, I actually think that's a little bit unfair because at that time, coming out with a story like that, people would just think you were batshit and possibly lock you up.
Potentially, go to a mental asylum.
Exactly. So I don't think that is a defense of it. I think that I can see why, if he genuinely believed that happened to him, he wouldn't have said it at the time. He would have waited until there were more stories in the public domain and then maybe felt the confidence to come out and say something.
Well, I always struggle with stories like this where there's only one witness.
Yeah.
It's really tricky.
Yeah.
Whereas if there's like three people who are in the same area have maybe seen something, but just one fucking nutter being like, yeah, I spent a week with 4 Sasquatch.
Yeah.
You
They
believe?
were, in fairness,
you believe?
they sound very hospitable.
They sound lovely.
Yeah.
Well,
Don't believe him though.
Also, the biggest question I have here is why? What did they get out of it?
The answer, because this is speculation. So when he was picked up in his sleeping bag, and when he came out, he was only in his underpants, and the Sasquatch was amazed that the fabric wasn't his skin. That freaked them out. The belief is that the two children, or the two juvenile Sasquatch, one was a female who was older than the male, and they had brought Osman to be her mate. They weren't aggressive with him, but he tried to escape a number of times, and they kind of just blocked the way. He was malnourished when he was found. That is a matter of record. He was in a state when he was found, when he got away.
Yeah, there is, in
which
fairness,
suggests that you could be hallucinating.
That I'm willing to accept. But the reason he came forward and said about it, what happened to him, was because it was a newspaper article and said, did you ever have an experience like this? And he went, well, actually, 33 years ago.
What does he? Who is he? What does he do?
He was just a
lumberjack
hunter.
Yeah.
He was just a normal person.
but he had gone out. In fairness, he had gone out in an area where he knew they were. To kind of, he had heard about this rumor, and he knew they were about there.
But going to the wilderness in Canada, we've all heard about it. So it's like, oh, that's exciting. That's exciting.
But he might have eaten a dodgy berry, and he's
might have done
off his tits, and then he's stopped eating, and then he's like, oh.
The fact that he says he drugged them to get away suggests he had drugs with him.
It's snuff. It's snuff, which is chewing tobacco. And the creature sneezed, and he was able to get out of sight. And he believes that they let him go. They didn't. It wasn't a case of he think if they had ran, they would have caught him. He says he believed.
Maybe
is this guy still alive?
No.
Well, he didn't come forward to the 1950s, and he was quite an old man by that point.
Oh, I see. Oh, shame.
But there
we would have brought him on otherwise.
Yeah,
but there are modern.
Let's do a seance. Let's get him in.
We'll get divine rods in.
Yeah.
And say, are there big primates in North America? It'll come
yes.
Very short episode.
But it's the same with aliens. It's like, do you remember that one in? Is it Todmorden? Have you heard of that one? It's like in Yorkshire, and it's like the one where all the kids and loads of people around on the same night all say they saw the same thing, like flying saucer, the whole lot. Yeah. And when like over 20 people have reported the same thing, that's when I'm like, oh, maybe.
Yeah, you're right. It's the one man account.
The one
is very
lone
difficult.
lumberjack makes me a bit like, what happened?
I mean, there are group.
You are right about the fact that he was documented to be found having been in the wilderness for a week. Yeah. That is true. And he was half naked, and he didn't have any of his stuff with him, and he'd gone out with stuff. Yeah. So that is all true. But what happened to him, we don't know.
I'd like it to be true.
Yeah.
I'd like it to be true. I think he held on to it.
Unless he was sexually assaulted by a Bigfoot, in which case...
There's a lot of Bigfoot erotica, apparently.
There
is a lot of Bigfoot erotica.
And it's a huge thing.
It's a thing.
Look, if
people make a lot of money off it.
Yeah.
Whatever subject it is, there's porn of it.
Yeah.
There is.
Yeah.
Because human beings are disgusting.
We are filth bags.
We really are.
Yeah.
You've heard it here first, and that's the end. We're all vile.
If it's Bigfoot, what else is big? Sorry.
Have you heard that apparently his testicles hang so low that actually, if you want to get away from a Sasquatch, you just leg it because he'll be lumbering because his balls are so heavy.
Swinging.
And yeah.
Okay.
And same with the women have such like pendulous breasts. Same kind of thing.
That's
So they won't chase you that fast.
yeah.
They're never, in fairness,
It's a
they are
theory.
never running in the videos. They're always just wandering.
Yeah, they
Well,
do look a bit.
One of my favorite videos that got really debunked because it's so cool. It's a cool video, and when I say cool, you can barely see this, but look it up. I think Thinker Thunker on YouTube has it, but it's a general one of a Bigfoot chasing a car, and it's the car camera that's recording it.
Yep.
And it was immediately dismissed. Oh, this is bullshit. But then the length of arms that you can see are really long, and it's actually running really fast. And it's kind of like, oh, this might be cool. Might be it.
Was it debunked?
Well, loads of people said it was made up because it's so like a Bigfoot chased our car. Like that's cool. And we've got footage of it, which is very bad footage. But then like the proportions of the creature, and this is where I keep coming into going like. So, for example,
One of the problems with this, and I'm sorry to interrupt, is that
I'm talking too
all
much.
of the
I'm
videos
overstimulated.
that you see, and a lot of the photographic evidence is all grainy, right? And that's understandable when it's from 50 years ago, but when it's from the last 20 years,
Yeah.
it's a bit suspicious. Like even a dash cam or whatever was in the car,
That's
right?
the word.
That's good quality now. That's as good as your iPhone, right?
Yeah.
So you'd think it would be better quality.
This-
Why is it grainy? Why is it,
Yeah, you make a good point. Why is
and-
it grainy?
And this is what I agree with this. You know, why is it always the crappiest camera?
Yeah.
But it's a big creature.
And dashcam famously isn't exactly like high definition, is it?
No, and I of course.
You're not filming porn on it.
No. Well,
Well,
actually,
Actually,
That said, yeah.
oh my God, how do we get on this? But like the
dig ourselves out.
I think we are very close to here's a really good crisp photograph and film of a recording of the creature.
Would you go hunting for it?
I'd be very, very interested because you can go into Canada and you can go and listen to noises chirping in the woods at night and like massive forests. They said, well, that's Bigfoot. Now it could be other creatures, but like that's a mimic of it. I've listened to a lot of Bigfoot recordings, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm not convinced. Let me backtrack a little bit. The reason I believe is the whole of humanity, there's been more than one species of humanity on the go. So like back, in the day, there was Neanderthal, there was Denisovans.
Yep.
We are constantly finding
Dennis who?
Denisovans. It's a type of prehistoric human. And we're finding a new species of human being or human-like being, which could be just a primate, but like along those lines, we're finding a new species about every 2 years. Like there were so many of them. Like the oldest cave paintings are probably done by Neanderthals. So like, and there were other species doing stuff. So the idea that we're the only human beings, as in homo, whatever. I know I'm a homo, but what I mean is the genre of animal that is homo.
Oh, so you're a different species.
I'm a totally different species. I don't breed, and yet we keep coming.
Really homos. Oh my God, they're everywhere.
Very native to Walthamstow.
It's like Dan Buckley turning around and saying he in fact is a homo sapien, and I'm like, oh man, or Joey from Friends going, is the reason homo sapiens, were they actually homo sapiens, is that why they died out? And Chandler just goes, yes, that's why, because anyway, I was watching Friends, sorry, but my point is it's very unusual that there isn't another hominid species still alive today, and I tend to believe that's what Bigfoot
is. Okay. All right. So Jerry Crew and the Andrew Genzoli story. In 1958, Jerry Crew, a bulldozer operator for a logging company in Humboldt County, California, discovered a set of large 16-inch human-like footprints sunk deep within the mud in the Six Rivers National Forest. Upon informing his co-workers, many claimed to have seen similar tracks on previous jobs. on previous job sites, as well as telling of odd incidents such as an oil drum weighing 200 kilograms having been moved without explanation. The logging company men soon began utilising Bigfoot to describe the apparent culprit. Crew and others initially believed someone was playing a prank on them. After observing more of these massive footprints, he contacted reporter Andrew Genzoli from the Humboldt Times newspaper. Genzoli interviewed lumber workers and wrote articles about mysterious footprints, introducing the name Bigfoot in relation to the tracks and the local tales of large, hairy, wild men. A plaster cast was made of the footprints and crew appeared, holding one of the casts on the front page of the newspaper on October 6, 1958. The story spread rapidly as Gonzoli began to receive correspondence from major media outlets, including the New York Times and the Los Angeles Times. As a result, the term Bigfoot became widespread as a reference to an apparently large, unknown creature leaving massive footprints in Northern California. As a result, Willow Creek and Humboldt County are considered by some to be the Bigfoot capital of the world. So that's where the name came from.
Which, if I'm going to debunk it my own way,
Yep.
Isn't there a theory that if the footprint has been made over time, as it melts away, it then looks bigger, but the actual original footprint was never that big. It's just kind of over time. You can't even make eye contact with me.
Am I being too aggressive?
No, I love it. But that is the science. That actually the footprint isn't just this massive ape man. It's actually your standard footprint, which has just got bigger over time.
Okay. So it could be just a standard small Bigfoot.
Small foot.
Yeah, small foot. Small foot.
I.e. us.
Yeah.
So what you're saying, if the glove does not fit, you must acquit?
No, don't agree.
Don't, like there's the very famous Yeti photograph.
Yeah.
I've forgotten this is across the Himalayas, beside the pickaxe. And they tried to explain that away. That couldn't be a more perfect photograph of.
But that's the one where the theory came from.
It's not.
No, you don't believe it. Okay, fine. Well, David Attenborough believes what you believe. He actually believes in the Yeti. Did you know that? And also, David Attenborough's not wrong about fucking anything.
No.
No. Are we going to argue with David Attenborough?
No,
He's a
we
legend.
shouldn't. And he's still alive.
Yeah, just.
This will go on. He'll die. No.
Given that he is only
maybe
just alive, he
perfect.
probably doesn't give a fuck what he says anymore.
No, yeah.
He's
well,
throwing out anything now.
he could say anything and I'd be like, yeah, no, fair enough. It's David Attenborough.
Yeah, it's probably true, Dave. Yeah.
Yeah.
This particular story has been debunked. So Ray Wallace and Rand Mullins, I'll tell you this one. In 2002, the family of Jerry Crew's deceased co-worker, Ray Wallace, revealed a collection of large carved wooden feet stored in his basement. They stated that Wallace had been secretly making the footprints and was responsible for the tracks discovered by Jerry Crew. Wallace was inspired by another hoaxer, Rand Mullins, who revealed information about his hoaxes in 1982. In the 1930s, in Toledo, Washington, Mullins and a group of other foresters carved pairs of large feet made of wood and used them to create footprints in the mud to scare huckleberry pickers in the Gifford Pinchon National Forest. The group would also claim to be responsible for hoaxing the alleged Ape Canyon incident in 1924, which is one I talked about earlier. Mullins and a group of foresters began referring to themselves as the St. Helens Apes and would later have a cave dedicated to them. Wallace, also from Toledo, knew Mullins and stated that he collaborated with him to obtain a large pair of the wooden feet and subsequently used them to create footprints on the 1958 construction site as a means to scare away potential thieves. So there's some logic to them doing it.
Fucking hoax.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the problem, isn't it? When you get stories like that where it's just proven to be a hoax, it devalues stories that don't have an outcome. There's no conclusion to them because
Skin ridges.
you think if this can be hoaxed, then that can be hoaxed.
Skin ridges.
What does that mean?
So the fingerprints on toes. So they're Sasquatch footprints that have been plaster cast, and you can see the skin ridges. You can see how the foot weighed because the foot moves. It's not just flat, and a kid could tell the difference between a wooden imprint and an actual footprint. And that's. I mean, I'm not saying this wasn't faked. I'm not saying that wasn't the case because I value our friendship and I don't want to keep disagreeing with you. But that's there a naked foot a naked foot, more Bigfoot porn,
naked foot.
a naked foot. We're all into feet. A naked foot and a wooden print. Well, seriously, like if you're not into feet, you're the minority.
Oh, what? So I'm the freak for not having
Absolutely.
a foot
Oh,
fetish?
no, absolutely. I'm not.
I am
Wow.
absolutely not into feet.
Oh, well, you're both freaks.
Yeah.
You're both freaks.
When I was at uni, I was in a flat of 10 of us, and 8 of them were podiatrists. And the discussion, was constantly
that's niche.
feet. Yeah, it was weird.
Wow. Do you reckon you have to be a foot fetishist to become a podiatrist?
They're weird.
They
It's an odd
fucking
bunch of
love
people.
feet.
Yeah. It's
To deal with that every day and verrucas.
Oh, I have a bit of a fear of verrucas.
Of verrucas. Why? What happened?
Well, just because when I had one as a kid, it was forever, and
I had verrucas on my feet, and I went to the fittest foot doctor going. Like, he was like, I'm not like, this guy was like fucking David Gandy. And I've never felt such shame in my life putting my little fucking trotters out with my verrucas all over them, being like, I was like, I've lost all dignity.
Here I am. Here's the ugliest part of me.
It was absolutely, I was like, oh my God, I was like 23 and I was like, oh my God. I just couldn't look at him anymore. And I worked with him. It was like in this like doctor's clinic, and I was like, oh my God. It was
You've
so
seen
shameful.
your verrucas.
You've seen my
Yeah.
verrucas. There's nothing to hide.
Yeah,
after that.
it's really hard, isn't it, at that point, to
You
seduce
can't
anyone.
grow back, can
No,
you?
no, you can't. No, so you're not putting that back, Susie.
Oh God, I've never spoken about that before.
it's
Felt
trauma.
ashamed of it again.
But I
Sorry,
worked
back
it.
to, yeah.
I feel like all I do is dominate the conversation. Going, I know something, and I'm really passionate about it.
No, it's great.
But
We did know that this is one that you believe in more than pretty much any other
Yeah, is this
conspiracy.
No, I
one
believe-
that's
I believe in
like,
this. Yeah.
Really?
This is one of the reasons for starting this whole podcast. This was one of the theories
Really?
right at the beginning we talked about as one that you deeply, deeply believe.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I feel very privileged and honoured to
Oh no!
be
When
on
you said it, I was like, "Oh my God, you got it!"
Yay!
Yeah, Bigfoot is real, and I'm not saying there aren't situations where it's been, because people can make money from it
Yeah, and do.
and
Still do.
Yeah, it's a huge money spinner. This
Yeah.
is what you know when like people are like, oh, why would this guy come forward 30 years later?
Yeah.
Why would this woman say that her house was haunted, 20 years later? And I'm like, but people do, because people are nuts. People are weird.
People are nuts.
People are fucking mental, and they want a bit of attention. They
Yeah.
have boring lives, and they want to come forward and be like, oh, do you know what? I'll just fucking spin a story. And I'm like, I get it. That makes more sense to me than...
Or they start misremembering, it becomes corrupted, and it becomes something else.
Yeah.
I mean, because
So I'm very skeptical about those witness accounts, but you seem very sure that it's
well,
the thing.
so there's a YouTube channel called by a guy called Bob Gimlin, Gymlan, and he just talks about it, and I love his voice. He's
Well, we are going to come on to him actually.
Bob
'cause-
Gimlin, yeah.
So talking about the Patterson-Gimlin film, which we have all seen. So the most famous Bigfoot video is a short film taken in 1967 by Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin, known as the Patterson-Gimlin film or Patterson film. Shot in Bluff Creek, California, the video shows what appears to be a large and hairy bipedal ape or Bigfoot striding through a clearing. For decades, the exact location of the site was lost, primarily because of regrowth of foliage in the stream bed after the flood of 1964. It was rediscovered in 2011. It is just south of a north-running segment of the creek, informally known as the Bowling Alley. The video's authenticity is still debated, but critics say it is likely a hoax, with the ape-like figure just a human wearing a costume. Patterson died
growling.
of cancer in 1972 and maintained right to the end that the creature on the film was real. Patterson's friend, Bob Gimlin, as you were talking about, has always denied being involved in any part of the hoax with Patterson. Gimlin mostly avoided publicity, discussing the subject from at least the early 1970s until about 2005, except for 3 appearances, when he began giving interviews and appearing at Bigfoot conferences. So like you said, later having the confidence to come out and talk about those things. With the rise of high quality cameras and smartphones, photographs have got sharper and clearer over the years. Bigfoot is a notable exception. The logical explanation for the discrepancy is that the creatures don't exist and that the photographs of them are merely hoaxes or misidentifications. But the fact that neither of them ever broke, right? If they did hoax this, neither of them ever broke.
I'm sure I read something about someone talking about trying on the outfit. Maybe I'm wrong.
No,
I swear I read that today about someone coming forward and being like, we were trying to like fix it
Yeah,
up.
but the thing is, okay, well, we still have stuff from the 60s and the 50s. So what outfit was it? Like if you
outfit?
if you look at the Planet of the Apes movies, and that makeup is still, like, I'm talking about the original Planet of the Apes movies, you know, with Roddy McDowall and Charlton Heston. If you look at those apes, they look good, but they have to be in human proportions. And this is the thing about Patty: she's not in human proportions. Her hand is way too far down her thigh. She has no neck. I know you could fix that all up, but if you look at Planet of the Apes, that those prosthetics, that makeup was the absolute best that they could do, and it still looks like people in makeup.
So far away.
It's not
And it is
that
a
far
very
away.
human gait. The walk is so
They're humanoids.
human.
See, I will concede. That I will concede. She does sort of mince along.
She does mince. Yeah, there's a
But her
mincy.
breast undulate. Like I know.
I don't remember seeing tits.
Yeah.
Maybe
Really?
but like Suzie was saying, that's why she's mincing, because she can't. They only mince, presumably.
Yeah, that's all they do.
Because of the momentum.
Because of the boobs and
Because of the
balls.
boobs, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and if they were going to fake it and they're going to have false tits, they wouldn't be like that. They wouldn't be saggy and hanging. They'd be pert and like bullets, you know, like Queen Kong, if you've ever seen the movie Queen Kong.
But maybe they did enough research to make it look as authentic as possible. You're assuming that maybe they were like, how could they have got it that right? But maybe they like spent, you know, a couple of years being like, what would it be like, and how are we going to make it look realistic?
I agree. Like even doing this podcast, we spent months getting this together. That's why it's the masterpiece that it is now. But I'm not saying people don't. I'm not saying that's not within the realm of possibility. It's just if they did, they were so far ahead of what everyone else was doing, and then they didn't capitalize on that. If you were that good at creating that, then you'd come forward and go, "Hey, you know what? Let's make a movie." Like people would capitalize on it, especially if these were grifters.
Depends on your motivation.
Yeah, but like that would be money now if you made
for sure.
Like
How
that.
long did it take them to release the film?
It sort of they went to the newspapers with it.
Oh, so they did. So they were
But,
keen
like,
to.
but there was
They
like,
were looking for it.
yeah.
It wasn't like they stumbled across this. They were looking for this.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. They
Yeah, it's
weren't-
difficult, isn't it? But then
They were looking for the panda for 100 years.
you know, that's true. And it's like you were talking about the panther. Right? We know those exist.
Oh, yeah.
Not necessarily in Wales, but you've seen them in Wales, so therefore
They are
do.
in Wales.
Yeah, they're in Wales.
There's
so
definitely one in Wales.
yeah, so we wouldn't question a film crew going out and filming one and coming back and saying there's a panther. We'd go, okay, yeah, it's a panther.
Yeah. Do you know what? You make very good points. I'm kind of on the fence. I am. I'm like,
What will end this is when we have the good footage, or when we have a dead body, I
think you should put your money where your mouth is and go to North America and go hunting.
Don't come back till you found it. Actually, do,
Yeah.
because we've got another.
Maybe you can make a whole episode about it.
Oh, I want to
Like a
do that.
Patreon special.
Bring him in.
I mean, there are
Or her.
really or they,
Or they.
you know.
Yeah, come on, guys.
Yeah, let's not
2024,
misgender them.
please.
Yeah. Bigfoot in popular culture. Once Bigfoot's story went public, it became a character in men's adventure magazines and cheap trade paperback novels. In these stories, Bigfoot was a primal, dangerous creature out of the past who lurked in the modern wilderness. By the 1970s, pseudo-documentaries were investigating his existence, and films were portraying him as a sexual predator. In the 80s, Bigfoot showed a softer side. He became associated with environmentalism and a symbol of the wilderness that we need to preserve. One big example is the 1987 movie Harry and the Hendersons, which portrayed Bigfoot as a friendly, misunderstood creature in need of protection from John Lithgow and his family. As in, by them from others, not from their family.
Bigfoot and Henderson's is a lot of fun.
It's a great film.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it, actually.
that's because you're young.
I'll take that. Is it good? Should I see it?
Yeah, John Lithgow, he's always worth your time.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a TV series?
Yes, without John Lithgow, it was the same premise.
Yeah, it's ringing a bell,
Yeah.
but not for the film. Yeah.
I think it only ran for one season, but there was those late 80s, early 90s shows like, you know, Dinosaurs and Alf.
Alf, yeah.
Alf was such a huge hit. So they were trying to capitalize on that, but it didn't run for very long.
Is that a Sasquatch like toy there, by the way?
Yeah, that's Sasquatch from Marvel Comics. He's a member of Alpha Flight. Walter Lankowski. Sort of he wanted to become a Hulk, and instead he unlocked the great beasts, and that's became Sasquatch. He's also the first trans character in Marvel Comics. Yeah, he died and came back to life, possessing another character's body. And when he turned human, it turned out he was female. And I was like, oh no! And it was really great. And then they totally retconned it.
Sometimes you wonder how one human could know these pieces of information.
I
don't you?
know.
It's amazing.
I was a very lonely teenager.
No, you just have all these tiny little drawers of information in your head.
Yeah.
That's what.
Very-
That's
very
why this
impressive.
podcast exists, because that is useless in day-to-day life.
Yeah,
in this studio,
But today,
yeah.
here and now.
So the Jane Goodall support, which you referred to earlier. So Dame Jane Goodall is an English primatologist and anthropologist. She's
It's a monkeologist,
A
isn't it?
monkeologist, yeah. I think that's a much
Please
better
get
name.
it right.
Monkeologist.
Yeah, sorry.
I love the word monkey.
Dame Jane Goodall is an English monkeologist and anthropologist. She is considered the world's foremost expert on chimpanzees after 60 years studying the social and family interactions of wild chimpanzees. She also doesn't rule out the existence of Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Jane Goodall has told about a time when she visited a remote village in Ecuador and asked people if they'd ever seen a monkey without a tail. She said 3 of the hunters came back and said, oh yes, we've seen monkeys without tails. They walk upright and they're about 6 feet tall. She noted they knew nothing of Bigfoot. So this is quite a long time ago. She also said every single country has its version. Yeti, Yowie in Australia, wild man in China. So I don't know if it's perhaps a myth that stems from maybe the last of the Neanderthals, but then is the last of the Neanderthals still living in these remote forests? I don't know. But I'm not going to say it doesn't exist, and I'm not going to say people who believe it are stupid.
Oh, that's the whole quote from her.
That's the whole quote from
wow. Yeah, no, go on, Jane. I believe her.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, she spent her time there. She's done the fucking research.
Fairness, she has
She's in
done
the
research.
field.
She's not just sat on ChatGPT like us. She's actually gone out.
She's
and
not
asked
like a
people.
YouTube warrior. She's
No,
actually
she's
out
not.
in like Quito being like, to be fair,
Yeah.
they probably could be here. Although there's a lot of like shamans, aren't there, in Ecuador? I nearly went to one when I was there, but I didn't. So that's not an interesting story. However,
Been a great one,
just
though,
saying,
wouldn't it?
yeah, what a story that would be if
Next
it
time,
happened.
Susie, if you could do that.
I nearly did a really interesting thing, but then I didn't.
Well, I want to do ayahuasca.
So, yeah,
What an
that was it.
So, like,
Only because the guy who told me to do it was like, I saw Jesus when I did it. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to come back from that, am I?
Yeah.
Bit of a twat. So nice saying twat, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great word.
it's a great,
great word.
Twat.
When I was a kid, my granny would call me a twat all the time, but it was a corruption of twit for her.
Oh,
she didn't
really?
know. Yeah, and she would say, "Oh, you're a little twat."
Did she know what the literal meaning was?
No,
Okay.
she literally didn't. And I wasn't until I was older going, "Oh, that's not an innocent
Yeah.
word."
My mum called me a slut for ages. Not because I'm a slut, because I didn't clean my room.
Dirty, slovenly, yeah,
yes.
sloven, yeah.
And I was like, Mum, you need to stop calling me that. She was like, no, you're very, very slutty.
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Yeah. Honestly.
do the
know
housework.
that.
Lucy Preece, she's called me many things, but slut was pretty bad.
Wow, brutal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry, back in.
No, don't worry. It's this is important stuff, Susie.
Sorry, we do get.
Well, we've got a clip now.
Yeah.
I'm a slut.
I'm a massive slut.
Sorry. I can't do that anymore.
So,
know,
Bigfoot
I know.
is an alien theory. You really wanted to talk about this one.
Oh.
Do you know about this one?
I don't think I do actually.
Okay. So the notion of Bigfoot being an alien is a relatively modern development within the realm of cryptozoology and UFOlogy, blending elements of both fields. While traditional interpretations of Bigfoot have typically portrayed it as a flesh and blood creature of territorial origin, the alien theory posits a more otherworldly explanation for its existence. Proponents of the theory that Bigfoot is an alien often point to certain characteristics and behaviors attributed to the creature as evidence of its extraterrestrial origin. These arguments include teleportation or disappearing acts. Some eyewitnesses' accounts of Bigfoot encounters describe the creature seemingly vanished into thin air or abruptly disappearing without a trace. Proponents of the alien theory suggest that these phenomena could be indicative of advanced technological abilities such as teleportation, commonly associated with extraterrestrial beings. Do you think they do this?
I tend to believe that, you know, Bigfoot is real as like a species on Earth.
Yeah.
Okay,
But-
good. I was like, oh no.
But we cannot deny that a lot of UFO sightings are also associated with Bigfoot. Like people say, "Oh, I saw a green light and then there was a Bigfoot."
Do they?
But is this not indicative of, and I'm going to be cynical here, the type of people that go out looking for these
It's a
things?
hat on a hat.
Yeah.
You know? I not only saw a Bigfoot, but I also saw a vampire and an alien.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While I was there.
Desperately seeking validation for their mad.
Desperately seeking
mad
validation.
lives. No, I don't. That's way too batshit. Like, no way. That's a step way too far.
It's a real left turn from the...
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
I didn't know that existed as a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing.
UFOs and
Yeah, it's a
Bigfoot.
thing. I mean, it does explain how they get about and why they can't be seen. However, the fact that they only seem to teleport within a very relatively small area of the world also seems a bit odd.
Yeah, it's fishy.
Like, why would
I'm
you-
really
why would you
primed to
teleport to
believe, but
one-
when you do the two together, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
you've lost me.
Yeah.
But
That's what lost you.
yeah, now I'm lost.
but it might be that the UFOs are getting contact with Bigfoot as the representative of Earth. Like we're warmongers. We have nuclear bombs, and
But
we
what's
let
the
women
point?
vote.
But what's the
and-
point of them?
I don't know.
What's the point?
but what is the
If
point?
they just put them down here and they're not doing their job properly.
Well, I mean, like, oh gosh, like
They're not doing anything.
There are some really cool sci-fi stories about aliens and Sasquatch working together, and but
That's fiction.
But that's fiction, and I do know the difference.
Yeah, that's a book. Yeah, no, I can't believe that at all.
Okay. There's also unnatural features. Certain aspects of Bigfoot's appearance, such as its reportedly large size, dense fur, and distinctive footprints, are sometimes cited as evidence of its non-terrestrial origin. Some proponents argue that these features defy conventional explanations and suggest a more exotic evolutionary lineage or genetic manipulation by advanced alien civilizations.
Well, so there's a guy called Lloyd Pye. He's no longer with us. He died of a very aggressive cancer, but he has really good talks about the origins of humanity and the Anunnaki and all that. And he is of the belief that the indigenous human race were the Bigfoot, and the Anunnaki came along, took the Bigfoot, and genetically modified them into us.
Oh yes, we talked about this in the Ancient Aliens episode. Okay, so we're the part alien. It's
Yeah.
the
So
big
So
And
we're,
we
oh
took
right,
over.
we're
Yeah.
the aliens.
Yeah, we're the genetically
That's
manipulated.
fucking mind-bending, isn't it?
Yeah. So and Bigfoot are the actual human race, and they're like, oh, well, we're not going to go near them because if you think about it, we burn in the sun. If you drop us in a forest,
I actually get a nice golden tan.
oh yeah, well you are
Not all
gorgeous.
of us.
That's why she's on a billboard in Leicester Square.
I am Irish, and I just burn. I go from milk colored to bright red.
This.
Yes. And in fact, if you look at me, if you're watching this on YouTube, I am very red. I look like I have an alcohol problem in every photograph we've taken for the show. I don't drink.
You won't be able to see that on Instagram because I apply filters.
Oh, a nice Paris filter.
Yeah. You've got to. You have to, Susie.
Oh my God, Paris is the best
Isn't it?
one.
Isn't it?
Yes.
I want to walk around in a Paris filter.
Oh my God. I just wish I didn't look so ruddy.
You look gorge.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I actually needed to hear that.
And you do find Bigfoot attractive.
I am a big hairy man.
Yes.
So I would have to.
Yes.
It would be wrong for me not to. Oh, but technically, I am a bear, which is what people say Bigfoot is.
This brings us back round to the erotica, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, Bigfoot could do all sorts of things with me. No. Carry on.
Okay. Elusive nature. The elusiveness of Bigfoot, often cited as a primary obstacle to its scientific study and documentation, is interpreted by some as evidence of its extraterrestrial nature. Proponents suggest that Bigfoot's ability to evade detection could be attributed to its alien intelligence or its capacity to utilize advanced camouflage techniques. They just want to stay out of the way, surely.
I mean, I don't think.
What are they doing? That's what I don't understand. This theory doesn't stack up. It's like, if they are, why are they here and what are they doing?
Yeah, it
Holiday?
sounds boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they like the food here.
You don't believe they're aliens, do you?
No, because animals are enigmatic anyway, and I point to panda bears. There was we searched for panda bears for 100 years.
Really?
Yeah. It was like and if you've seen a panda, they're not very intelligent. They would die out if human beings didn't help them breed. They have one food source, which is bamboo, and we took 100 years to find them.
And they do not want to fuck.
And they do not want to fuck. And
Don't
so,
you like live in China and just have a happy, lazy life?
yeah.
And
I mean, I love panda bears,
I love
but like,
pandas.
and how they were discovered was there was a hide found in a Chinese market, and that was how it was pinned down over the course of 100 years. You know, a vegetarian bear, that doesn't make
Right.
sense.
Let's not go down the road of Chinese markets on a conspiracy theory podcast.
I was thinking, I was like, well,
all the best.
now that we're here.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't believe this theory.
No, I'm open to all things, but no, I do believe that there is a creature There are a number of creatures actually that fall into the Bigfoot category, like Sasquatch and the almas and
The Yeti.
the yeti and the skunk ape and what have you.
Suzie, aliens in general, not Bigfoot aliens, but
Yeah.
aliens in general.
I think it would be stupid to say they don't exist.
Yep.
I kind of think that there's got to be something out there. And whether or not we've actually people have met one that like made a fucking pancake or like...
I want aliens
we
to come
talk
and
about
meet me.
pancakes?
That's the reason they
Pancakes.
came. Yeah, go on then.
No, we didn't talk about... Oh my God, I've made up conversations in my head. I do believe, yeah. And I do think there's a cover up. I feel like there is. I'd love to speak to someone in like high up in the American government.
Yeah.
Who can be like, oh yeah, well actually, X-Files. I'm going to rewatch all of X-Files and be like, actually,
It's a good starting point.
don't you think?
Yeah.
X-Files
What
is
about
great.
that whole recent thing where they were like, to be fair, there was like an American football stadium sized spaceship that we found. What about that?
Yep.
And they're like, oh, that's true.
I mean, there's you posted it on our Instagram. There has been sightings of UAPs, that's what they're called now, UFOs, and
Yeah.
they can't explain what they are.
But again, even with that photo that I put up recently, which is a recent UFO sighting taken from a plane, it's grainy. It's taken on a camera phone and it's grainy. Who has...
From where is it? From like at night looking out into
No,
the sky?
it's daylight. It's broad daylight. I can't remember which city it's over. It's over a US city. They're very close to it. It's taken from a plane at almost eye level with the object. It's not that far away, and yet it's still blurry and it's still grainy.
No, I really believe.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Even last night, did you hear the storm?
Yeah.
I did.
So I woke up at like 4 a.m. and I went to go and look outside. And honestly, there were these flashing lights in a very empty garden. There were no lights in that garden, and they were just flashing. And then they'd stop, and then they'd flash again. And I was like, what's that?
Yeah.
There's an alien in my fucking back garden. That's what
Or
I'm
a
saying.
fairy.
A ferret?
Fairy,
Fairy.
as in, fairy.
Oh, fairy. Sorry.
Where'd you
Not
go?
my people, but a mythical creature.
Oh, a fairy. No,
Fairy folk.
I don't believe in fairies.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, one. I've just killed one.
So, despite the proliferation of eyewitness accounts and anecdotal evidence, the scientific community remains largely skeptical of the existence of Bigfoot. Critics argue that the lack of tangible evidence, such as fossil remains or DNA samples, cast doubt on the validity of the claims. Many purported sightings could be attributed to misidentifications of known animals or hoaxes perpetrated for attention or profit. In response to the enduring mystery of Bigfoot, numerous expeditions, research projects, and television programs have been launched in an attempt to unravel the truth behind the legend. These efforts have utilized a variety of scientific methods, including DNA analysis, footprint analysis, and remote sensing technology. However, to date, none have produced conclusive evidence of Bigfoot's existence. The legend of Bigfoot remains one of the most enduring and captivating mysteries of our time. Despite the absence of concrete scientific evidence, the mythos surrounding this elusive creature continues to thrive, captivating the imaginations of people around the world. Whether Bigfoot exists as a tangible reality or simply the product of myth and legend, its legacy as a cultural icon is undeniable, reminding us of the boundless wonder and mystery of the natural world.
Oh, stunning. Wow. Honestly, what a roundup.
What a wrap up.
What a wrap up.
I one thing I want to say.
Go on.
There are no primate fossils.
Okay.
So
Huge.
the fact that there's
Huge
no
if
big...
true.
Yeah.
Suzie, is
Yes.
Bigfoot real?
Yes.
Love it. I already know. I'm going to ask anyway,
Bigfoot is real.
but not an alien.
Real.
That could be there as well. But no, Bigfoot is real and undiscovered.
Okay.
Not an alien.
I think you're both mental, but but I have to say there's been a lot of sightings, and I do think people have seen something, and it may be a variation of a monkey or something. So I don't think there's nothing in this, and I do think we should all be. And I want this to be true. Of all the conspiracies we've done, this is the one I want to be true more than any other because it doesn't do anyone any harm, right? Apart from this dude that
It's
got
a very
kidnapped.
friendly one.
It's a very friendly one,
It's not
right?
like chemtrails.
Yeah.
No, not like
not.
the thing is, if we find out that Bigfoot is real, then we have to worry about Bigfoot.
Protect him at all costs,
Protect him
or
at all
her, or
costs.
they.
This is
Yeah.
true. That's true. So it's better in a way
That we don't.
we don't.
We don't.
Okay.
Because
We'll
look,
fuck it up.
we'll fuck it up. We can't look. We
We're
don't have nice
awful.
things.
We are
We are.
Yeah.
We're a terrible
Apparently
species.
World War III's coming.
Really?
Sorry to put that at the end.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
It's probably our
It's
part alien
coming.
blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Suzie, would you like to look into this camera and tell people where they can find you, what you're doing, all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff?
Yes. Please find me on @Suzie Preece. Suzie, Preece, not like priest as in the priest, the religious guy. You can find me on Instagram. Ghost Huns is on TikTok. Ghost Huns Pod at Ghost Huns Pod if you want to listen to some ghost stories. And yeah, just have a nice day. Is that all right?
That's lovely.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I felt
no one's ever said have a nice day after it. Would you like a Bigfoot joke to end the podcast?
Yes.
Okay, good. What did Bigfoot say when the abominable snowman asked if he was ready to leave the party? Not Yeti.
I was like, Sasquatch? I don't know.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
No, that didn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense. That's the end of the podcast. Thanks for
Bye.
listening. Bye.
Please like and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. The more lovely subscribers we get, the more episodes we'll make. And follow us on Instagram and TikTok for regular updates and exclusive videos at Believe Conspiracy Pod. We love you. Bye.